The invitation. It began with a letter, thick parchment sealed with a red wax stamp that bore no symbol. Rachel almost threw it out, assuming it was junk, but her name was handwritten on the front in calligraphy. Inside was a message. You are cordially invited to an exclusive art exhibit at the Mirror House. One night only, transportation will be arranged. Come alone. No signature, no date, no return address. Rachel thought it was a prank at first, but something about the paper's scent, faintly of lavender and smoke, compelled her to keep it. 2 days later, a black car pulled up outside her apartment. The driver, silent, handed her a silver mask and opened the door. She went. The silent host. The Mirror House stood deep in a forest she didn't recognize. Gothic in architecture, it looked centuries old, yet untouched by time. Every window glimmered like liquid glass, reflecting the moon in unnatural ways. Inside, the foyer was lined with mirrors. They hung like paintings, but none matched. Some were cracked, some warped, others so clean they looked like water. Rachel waited for someone to greet her, but no one did. She wandered, calling out. Her voice echoed unnaturally, bouncing between the mirrors like whispers. Then she saw it. In a tall mirror across the hall, her reflection blinked, but she hadn't. Guests that don't speak. She wasn't alone. In the main gallery, other guests had arrived. They were dressed elegantly, almost too perfectly, like mannequins. Each one stood in front of a mirror, staring, unmoving. Rachel approached a woman in a red gown. "Hi," she said. The woman didn't turn, didn't blink. Rachel touched her shoulder. She smiled faintly, but her eyes remained glued to the glass. Unblinking, hollow. Something was wrong. A man walked by in a tuxedo. His steps didn't make sound. His reflection lingered longer than he did. Rachel stepped back. Every mirror around her now showed her face. The vanishing. She watched one of the guests, a tall man with white gloves, step toward a mirror. He didn't stop. He walked into it. His body didn't shatter the glass. He simply passed through, as if the mirror were liquid. There was no splash, no distortion. He vanished entirely, but his reflection remained. It looked back out, grinning faintly, then mimicked gestures that no one on the outside was making. Rachel screamed. No one reacted. She ran to a mirror to check her own reflection. It was still there, still her. But how long would that last? The room that watches. Rachel found a narrow hallway, dimly lit by sconces. At the end was a door, slightly ajar. Inside was a circular room filled entirely with mirrors of all sizes. No walls were visible. Even the ceiling and floor were mirrored. It was like standing inside a diamond. And then she noticed it. Her reflection was out of sync. She raised her hand. Her reflection hesitated, then smiled before following. She took a step back. Her reflection leaned forward, and then, in a moment of pure terror, it whispered something. No sound, just a movement of lips. Rachel turned to run, but the door disappeared. Whispers from the glass. She wandered through the house, unsure of how long she had been inside. Time didn't feel right. Her phone had no signal. No clocks ticked, but the mirrors, they whispered. Soft at first, then louder. Help me. Don't look too long. Trade places. She passed one cracked mirror and heard a woman's scream ring in her ears. The mirror pulsed. Another one showed her past, her childhood bedroom, exactly as she left it years ago. The house was learning her, feeding on her memories. Then, a voice, clear as day, came from behind her. You shouldn't have come. She turned. No one was there. The doppelganger. She finally faced it. In one of the main chambers, she stood before a mirror taller than the rest. The reflection wasn't right. It wasn't copying her. It moved. First, it looked like her, yes, but older, tired, pale. The eyes were darker, and it spoke. This house feeds on what you see in yourself. It shows you what you try to hide. Rachel stood frozen. Someone must stay. That's the rule, the reflection continued. One reflection, one soul. Trade with me, and you can leave. Rachel shook her head, backing away. The reflection frowned, and then it stepped forward. Help me. Don't look too long. Trade places. She passed one cracked mirror and heard a woman's scream ring in her ears. The mirror pulsed. Another one showed her past, her childhood bedroom, exactly as she left it years ago. The house was learning her, feeding on her memories. Then, a voice, clear as day, came from behind her. You shouldn't have come. She turned. No one was there. Shattered truths. In desperation, Rachel picked up a candelabra and smashed the nearest mirror. The scream that followed was not hers. Blood trickled from the broken glass. Inside the shards, she saw them. Faces. Dozens. Hundreds. Trapped. Twisted in pain. Guests like her. Some unrecognizable. Their features stretched into horrors. The room shook. Lights flickered. Rachel ran. But now, every mirror she passed showed not her face, but her reflections. It had replaced her. She wasn't the one in control anymore. The bargain. Back in the main gallery, the tall mirror glowed faintly. The doppelganger stood inside, hands pressed to the glass. Let me live again. Take my place. You'll be free. The walls began to crack. The house was collapsing into itself. Rachel approached. Her hand trembled as she touched the glass. It felt warm. Please, the reflection whispered. I remember the sun, the smell of grass. I want to feel again. Rachel cried and stepped away. No, she said. The reflection's smile disappeared. And then, silence. Reflected no more. Rachel ran. The hallways twisted, changed, melted into impossible geometry, but she ran. She didn't stop until she saw the front door. It was open. She burst outside, falling into the wet grass, gasping for air. The black car was gone. She stood. But something was wrong. She looked into the glass window of the house. No reflection. She checked her phone screen. Nothing. Not even a shadow. And then, back inside the house, in the tall mirror, her reflection stood alone, smiling.